Dear friends, significant events took place in the life of Abram, the Hebrew. He was later renamed Abraham. The divine hand of guidance, protection, and blessing was very obvious in his life story. He followed God's special call and left a comfortable life in the fertile land of Haran to go to the land of Canaan. He and his wife Sarai and nephew Lot settled in the area of what is today Jerusalem and Bethlehem region. Severe famine required him to seek food south and west in Egypt. There he feared for his life on account of his beautiful wife Sarai. As she was his half-sister from his father through a different mother, he persuaded her to deny that she was his wife and falsely claim to be only his sister. Friends, when Sarai ended up in the Egyptian Pharaoh's possession, it must have broken Abram's heart. As brother of a beautiful new wife of the Egyptian king, however, much wealth was bestowed on Abram and his company, including his nephew Lot. Yet God had chosen Abram and his wife Sarai to establish the lineage that would ultimately lead to the birth of Christ, the one promised to bless all humanity. Miraculously, Pharaoh was not allowed to keep Sarai. Struck by sudden plague, Pharaoh not only released Sarai to her husband, but also sent him and his company away with much wealth. Their wealthy abundance of livestock could no longer be grazed in the same pasture Genesis chapter 13 explains. So Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver and in gold, and he journeyed to the place where he had made an altar, and there Abram called upon the name of the Lord. And Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land could not support both of them dwelling together. Friends, it is not uncommon for business partners and family members to part ways due to disagreements about material possessions or finances. Yet, the root problem between the households of Abram and Lot was much deeper. The text goes on to say, Then Abram said to Lot, Let there be no strife between you and me, and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are kinsmen or brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw that the Jordan Valley was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord. Friends, the biblical text goes on to provide us with a very important contrast between Abram's and Lot's choices for the direction of their lives. It says, So Lot chose for himself all the Jordan Valley, and Lot journeyed east. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled among the cities of the valley and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked, great sinners against the Lord. The text makes it obvious that while Abram's choice was to remain in the land to which God called him, Lot's choice was to be near those described as wicked great sinners against the Lord. Friends, it is important to keep in mind that the tension leading up to the separation of Abram and Lot was not caused by a personal disagreement. Rather, it was caused by their herdsmen. To Abram, the matter was not worth being entangled in continuing conflict. Friends, following the separation of the households of Abram and Lot, a divine confirmation of God's promised blessing to Abram is given. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your offspring forever." Friends, the focus of the divine promise of blessing was on Abram's abiding forever offspring. The ultimate objective of Abram's divine calling was the blessing of all families of the earth. Abram was promised not a limited ethnic offspring, but a vast universal spiritual descendancy. After judging humanity by the universal flood, the Lord had covenanted to preserve mankind. He provided the permanent sign of the rainbow to remind us of that. Soon after, the Lord intervened at the Tower of Babel to deliver humanity from self-destruction, even as the intention of man's heart was and remained evil. Friends, Abram the Hebrew was chosen and gradually guided to understand his calling to serve the divine plan to bless every ethnic group of humanity. Thus his name was changed from Abram, father of a small part of humanity, to Abraham, father of uncountable offspring, born from across all of sinful humanity. A new humanity was being established through the special offspring, Jesus, the promised new Adam. He was to come through the Abrahamic line. Abram was repeatedly preserved, protected, and blessed to remind him of the purpose of his calling. In the 22nd chapter of Genesis, the Lord said to him, "In your offspring shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice." That is why Abraham longed for and ultimately looked forward to the fulfillment of the divine promise in his offspring, Jesus, who announced, "Your father Abraham rejoiced that he would see my day. He saw it and was glad." Hallelujah.